Hi, this is Scott Seaton, music director of the North State Symphony, and this is another edition of a series we're calling Musician Accents, where we're taking a little bit of time to get to know as many and eventually all of the members of the North State Symphony. And today I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to chat with one of our younger musicians, Summer Sun, who is a high school student and a member of the MTAC Youth Orchestra, but auditioned to be a member of the North State Symphony as a student musician this past year and won a spot in our violin section. So welcome, Summer. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, all things considered. It's interesting times we're living today, and you are seeming to take advantage of these newfound opportunities and finding new ways to connect with people during all this. So let's backtrack a little bit. How have these past several months been treating you, and how and tell us about some of these things that you've been doing online.
Yes, of course. So, I think right now, like our world seems to be kind of folding in and collapsing on itself. But I think that the best part of this is to remember, like I was just reading a quote about Anne Frank, like, I can see all the bad in the world, but I can also see all the good too. And of course, we have to acknowledge all the things that are happening. But at the same time, there are people in the world who are just kind of, we need to help support them. And so, I've been opening up a educational Zoom workshop
Yeah.
every Monday and Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. And it's ages, well, I do grades, so it's grades second through fifth, although I do have a first grader, which is pretty awesome. And we do all sorts of activities. Like I do like origami with them. I did a science experiment with them. And then I've also enrolled in like coding classes. And this is all to spread awareness about the Buchanan Youth Orchestra, which I'm a part of, as you said. And I've been a part of the youth orchestra for, I think, since I was like 5, so however many years that is. And yeah, I've just been a part of that like since as long as I can remember. And so, of course, with COVID-19, a lot of families are experiencing financial hardship.
Of
So with
course.
our GoFundMe that we have created, Yoshi and I, the conductor, she is absolutely amazing. Um, we've created a GoFundMe to create some scholarship opportunities for these
Mhm.
kids so that they continue on doing what they love and playing with the symphony. And because we have a great relationship with the youth orchestra and the symphony.
Right,
So
right. And I think I remember seeing that it's your goal to have all of the students completely covered for this coming year, correct?
I think right now, I'm not really sure. Of course, we're trying to like aim, I think our goal is $4,400 at the
Right.
moment. And of course, always we really want to reach that goal and maybe even go above. But right now, I think we're just focusing on, like always a step at a time, a step at a time.
Right. But it would be nice. Would the 4,400 be enough for tuition for everyone for the whole year? Is that how that works?
Um, I'm not really sure. I think just families who are experiencing especially difficult times so
Okay.
that they don't have to think about just an extra thing on their plate. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a great cause, and I'm happy to see someone tackling music education in such a strong way. So congratulations on that. I hope you reach your goal.
Thank you.
Let's backtrack a little bit with you personally. Tell us about how you got started in music and how you picked the violin.
Got you. Okay, so I have an older brother. His name is Steven Sun, and we have quite an age gap. It's 9 years.
Mhm.
I know my parents are like, I'm like, what were you thinking? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have quite an age gap. So yeah. So when I was like about 2 or 3, he was I think like 11 or 12, and so he would pick up his violin and he would just go at it, and I would just sit there and watch. And there are real recordings of me literally screaming because I was jealous of all the attention he got. And so one day my mom just like had enough of it and she gave me a cereal box and like I think like 2 chopsticks. And she was just like, just go. And then I eventually after about like a couple weeks, I think I realized that my cereal box of cardboard was not making any noise. And so I immediately demanded for a real violin. And so therefore I got the smallest violin in my opinion. And and that's how I got started with violin. I think just out of pure young jealousy. Yeah.
And sorry, how old were you at that point?
Yeah, so I think I started violin when I was around 3, and then I started
Wow.
playing violin around the same time, or as
Okay.
piano at around the same time.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and are you still playing piano as much as you're playing violin?
So as time went on, I've kind of had to like let go of some aspects, but I still absolutely love the piano and the violin. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people who play violin also play piano.
Uh,
People who play piano also play violin because there's just such an amazing relationship between these two instruments. And
right.
so I would never ever want to let go of one. So I try to play as much piano as I can.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Are there other musicians in your family?
Yes, my brother, and I think that's it. Unless you can count my dad playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, then yes, three musicians.
Playing violin on your dad, you mean?
Oh, my dad can play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with one finger on the piano,
Oh,
like
on the
this.
piano.
Yes, it's very impressive.
Gotcha. And so your mom doesn't do anything musically?
No, she doesn't. Although we all try to get her to sing, but she doesn't want to sing. So, I mean,
I noticed. So your mom is a professor of physics at CSU. Is that correct?
yes.
That's great. And I perused your website. You also have an interest in what, physics and math. What else are you? What are your interests outside of music?
Well, I really enjoy all of those things that you just said. I really like doing hands-on experience, especially. That's why I'm trying to incorporate in the Zoom workshops as
Hmm.
much hands-on stuff as I can while we're meeting like through a Zoom camera.
Right.
And it's been difficult, but I've been just trying to, just the easiest way to eat a whale is just one bite at a time. So I think that's kind of my mantra at this point. And I also really enjoy theater.
Hmm.
I was in the Blue Room Theater at Laxon Mary Poppins Jr. That was like really fun. I
Oh
made
yeah.
a lot of new friends. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And grade-wise, you're going into what level this coming year?
Yeah. So I will be graduating in 2023. So
Okay,
I'll be a sophomore this year.
sophomore. Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you in school? Are you involved in a lot of like extracurricular activities, organizations, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I'm in the tennis team. I
Mhm.
really love that because I've just made a lot of new friends and everybody is so nice. And we've got like the seniors who like show you around and like they can
Right.
drive and that's like a big deal. And I'm also in student government. I really like that. And I'm also really, really enjoy digital arts. I have a really amazing digital arts teacher.
Mhm.
Um, and I really like photography especially and digital drawing.
It's a lot of varied interests. That's great.
Yeah,
Sounds like how I was when I was in high school. Um,
that's good.
Now, I know you don't have to think this far ahead, but do you have a plan once you graduate?
I think I definitely would like to go to college. Actually, fun fact, when I was younger, um, I really, I would never have dreamt of ever playing in a symphony. Like when I would like go with my brother and my mom and my dad and we'd go watch the North State Symphony. I'm like, wow, like it's huge, especially when you're younger. You're like, everything just seems like gigantic to you.
Of course.
And when I auditioned, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is literally like almost like auditioning for like a TV show that you used to watch when you're younger. It was like, yeah, that's the best way that I would describe it. And like when I got in, I was like, oh, this is like I could not believe it. And so definitely joining the symphony made me realize like, yeah, this is something that I could do in college and in the future and open up a lot of possibilities. So definitely playing music in college is a big deal for me. And as life unfolds, I'm not really sure it's going to
Right.
happen, but I do know that I want to like help people in as many ways as I can.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you won't necessarily major in music, but you want to be involved in some way
Yes.
musically. Gotcha. Um, yeah, I mean, when I was in college, I was a double major in music and math. So you sound like someone who wants to do a lot of things and
That sounds really awesome.
oh, yeah. Well, eventually, I'm sure you'll go through the same process I did. You'll want to try to do too much, and you'll have to eventually narrow your focus a little bit. But
Yeah.
the important thing is keeping music alive, and then sharing your passion with as many other people as you can. Um, so we're talking about auditioning for the symphony, and your audition was a little bit unique because you did a virtual audition. Just
Yeah.
that's how schedules worked out, and of course you won a spot, and then you've played only one concert with us so far, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
The one concert before we went dark, yeah. And what a concert that was to be your first with the
Yeah.
symphony. I mean, to do the Marquez Danzón number 2, the Saint-Saëns Organ Symphony, the Liszt First Piano Concerto. I mean, that is big repertoire, and must have been, had you performed in other full orchestras before that concert?
I believe I don't believe I have.
Hmm.
So that was definitely a huge experience, especially the Sanson, like it's so long. And I don't know, I don't know if this is a popular opinion, but like the long where you just sit up there for like the whole time, there's
Yeah.
a kind of beauty to it, almost like you're just living in the stage, and because it goes on and then you're like, you just kind of just lose yourself in the music because you're up there and you kind of forget all this other stuff is happening and it's just you and the music and the conductor. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and you especially, you feel that during these very well constructed and timeless symphonies that have, been around for so long that they, every time we hear and we are able to recreate these pieces, we're living a moment in history, and I think it's great to just, as much as you can, just absorb yourself in the experience. And Saint-Saëns, that is an epic symphony, and the way it just slowly develops, especially the first half of the symphony, and then when the organ finally is in full bloom, that's when the real sort of just laying back and enjoying these wondrous melodies that
Yes.
are all around you at that point. Um, do you have a favorite classical composer?
Oh, that's really good. So I mean, enjoy um, I really enjoy Bach and Mozart. I would
Hmm.
say I especially like when I'm studying, I really like to listen to classical music because it helps me focus. And
Right.
so I really like Bach's unaccompanied cello suites,
Oh, of
especially
course.
Yo-Yo Ma. I
Mm,
like turn on my Apple Music, I'm like just jamming out. And yeah, I really enjoy I think it's number 11.
mhm.
Um or maybe it's yeah, I think it's yeah, and then I also really enjoy listening to Mozart because like Mozart is just so crisp and clean,
Yeah.
and I really just enjoy those melodies. It's like pops of just yellow and blue, and I like it.
With Mozart, do you particularly like the violin concerti, or or do you also really, do you listen to all the piano concerti? Is there any, set of pieces in particular that you're drawn to?
I would say definitely there's attributes that go
Mhm.
with both.
Right.
I mean, because I play both, it's kind of like I have to choose between sides, but like I just love both. And I mean, with violin, there's like a tone that you just you create yourself because on the piano you're hitting keys, right? But on the violin you're creating these tones.
Right.
And so you can create these really wonderful like melodies, but then on the piano you have all these harmonies that just blend into one another. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, I find the best recordings are when you do have that clarity and that precision. I mean, for instance, Martha Argerich on the piano concerto recordings, just almost unbeaten. I mean, it's so the line is just so crystal clear, and it flows, and it's sublime music, definitely.
Yes.
So you're much more of a Baroque and classicist. Do you feel like you associate much with like Brahms or any of the late Romantics, or even anyone in the modern period?
Yes, actually, I really enjoy rag. I really
Uh-huh.
like Scott Joplin,
Really?
especially like literally, yeah. I mean, I remember like when I was like 8, I was like,
Mm,
I'm gonna learn the Entertainer, but of course my hands were like 5 inches, like across, and I was like, well, can't do that. But I really enjoyed listening to rag because it just kind of makes you want to get up and dance, and it makes me feel like I'm in Disneyland or something. I really
right.
like that. Also, I really enjoy romantic pieces,
Mhm.
kind of like the ones that you can imagine in like the backgrounds of like really dramatic movie scenes.
Right.
Really enjoy those.
No, that's great. And of course, a lot of the big movie soundtracks nowadays steal a lot
Yes.
of either
Oh yes.
quoted material from, um, a lot of pieces at the outset of the 20th century, or they
Oh
steal
yes.
sort of the textural ideas. I don't know if
Yes.
you've listened to, for example, the music of Anton Bruckner.
Oh, I have not.
You should check it out, especially if
Definitely.
you'll hear a lot of cinematic quality, at least because so many people have stolen
Yeah.
from him. Uh, for instance, John Williams, among the other, huge names in Hollywood right now. Um, and since you're not exactly a professional musician, but I still want to ask this question: do you have um, and you've been playing violin and piano forever now, but
Yeah,
do you have a moment in your life where you know either an experience of listening to something, or playing in a performance somewhere? It doesn't have to be with North State, for example, but
sure.
that have solidified within you that music has to be part of your life.
Sure.
Can you isolate a moment like that, or is it just a compilation of various moments that have brought you to where you are now?
I think, of course, with any memory, it's like
Mhm.
you don't realize how crucial it was in your life until you look back like XYZ years later.
Right.
So I think that's a really good question because I think so. There's this festival down in the Bay Area called the Classical Masters
Mhm.
competition. And I remember I think I went there when I was like in sixth grade. And in my age group, there were four people. And I got third place out of four people.
Mhm.
And it wasn't a proud moment of my life, I would say. But I mean, I wasn't like embarrassed or anything because I knew that it kind of reflected like what my attitude was. And
Right.
I was like, I just wasn't there, I guess. I wasn't living in the music. And so the next year, instead of just coming back with dreams to like get that first place, I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to play the music and I'm just going to think about all the things that this music means to me personally and
Right.
how I interpret it. And in my age group, I think I like was bumped up in age group like the next year. There were 15 people and I got second place. And I was like, I realized that this is something that I could do for the rest of my life if I
Mhm.
wanted to, and that if I work hard, if I have the right mindset toward this piece of music, that I can, like it's like putty, like I can do what I want with it.
Right.
And I think it definitely, as you said, solidified what my thoughts were.
That's great. That's a
Yeah.
very mature mindset, because and I've had several interviews recently, so just as I'm sure you've engaged so many people online, and it's a chance to really go back and think about things, and some of the great sayings of my great teachers are all about creating this moment, living in the moment, and not so much worrying about what's in the future, but just making sure you're living the uh, the most your best life now, the most productive life now, focusing on the process and not the result, and
Yes,
choosing what's there and not what's somewhere else or what someone else has, and just
exactly.
and that it takes you so far if you just put your life into perspective that way.
Hmm.
um, well, being one of the youngest musicians that I've interviewed so far on our musician accent series, and hopefully we get some uh, younger musicians who hear this interview, and do you have any words of advice for younger musicians, or someone like yourself who has all of these interests and is going forward into thinking about college and all this other stuff? Is there anything that you want to tell people right now?
I would say this will sound very cheesy and overused, but I think there's a reason why things are cheesy and overused because they're kind of relevant, even if we hate to admit it. I think the best part about life is to stay true to yourself. And if somebody tells you to do something because of their reasons, you should know inside what your reasons are
Right.
and why you want to do things. And if you want to pursue something in life and you know it's going to be difficult, sometimes you just got to put your foot down and just go after it. And, you obviously have to think about other things in your life besides that one goal, but to really appreciate life as it happens around you
Mhm.
while also pursuing something that you want, that's definitely something that I myself need to work on. And that's why I definitely think to tell younger musicians and just younger people in general that to stay true to yourself is probably one of the most important parts of life, is really important.
Very well said. Very
Yeah.
well said. Well, Summer, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and you're a brilliant young musician, and obviously you're a very
Thank
curious
you.
mind. And
Thank you.
I hope to make music with you again sometime in the near future. Hopefully we
Yes.
can make something. We're working on our season for the fall and our spring currently. Obviously everything's up in the air right now because nothing can be really predicted at the moment. But we hope
Right.
to have the whole orchestra together as soon as possible. And I can't
Yes.
wait to have these amazing experiences in Lax and in the Cascade Theater coming up.
Yes.
But for now, keep doing what you're doing. I will put your website at the bottom, and
Awesome.
hopefully people
Thank
can
you.
check out what you're doing, which is so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I hope you and your family continue to stay safe, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you. Pleasure chatting.